The surprising success of a controversial horror remake. In the world of cinema, few things spark as much debate as remakes, especially when it comes to beloved horror classics. And when a remake flops, it's often met with a collective sigh of relief. But what happens when a remake, seemingly destined for failure, defies expectations and becomes a box office success? Such is the intriguing tale of the 2005 remake of The Fog, starring Tom Welling. A horror icon's words: "If everybody else is making remakes and they want to pay me money to make a remake of an old movie of mine, why not?" This quote from horror legend John Carpenter sets the stage for our story. In 2005, Carpenter's 1980 ghost story, The Fog, was set to be reimagined, but the original was a simple yet effective masterpiece. So, was this remake destined for greatness or disaster? The remake's journey. Sony Pictures embarked on a mission to remake The Fog with a trendy cast, including Tom Welling from Smallville. However, the result was far from ideal. Critics argue that it's one of the worst horror remakes ever, yet it managed to scrape by at the box office. How did this happen? The Fog story. The film follows the residents of Antonio Bay, trapped in a vengeful mist, haunted by the souls of a sunken ship seeking revenge. Carpenter and Deborah Hill. The original writers were credited as producers, but Carpenter's career was in a transitional phase. His recent films had underperformed, and he was open to the idea of a remake for financial reasons. The remake trend. Sony's decision to remake The Fog was part of a larger trend. Horror remakes were thriving at the box office, with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 and even the maligned The Amityville Horror 2005 finding success. Sony aimed to replicate this, hiring CW star Tom Welling, similar to other remakes casting TV stars. Bigger isn't always better. The remake expanded the story, but at a cost. Carpenter's original was a tight 90-minute film made on a shoestring budget, while the remake, directed by Rupert Wainwright, clocked in at 100 minutes and cost $18 million. Despite the increased budget, the film lacked the creative spark needed for a successful remake. The financial fog. Critics despised the film, but Sony had a plan. They marketed it as a generic ghost story for younger audiences, ignoring the older fans of the original. This strategy paid off, as The Fog opened at #1 in North America with $11.7 million. It survived the competition and eventually grossed $46.2 million worldwide, a modest success by 2005 standards. The legacy. The 2005 The Fog was far from a critical or commercial hit, but its success is intriguing. It highlights a time when even mediocre films could thrive at the box office, thanks to a thriving home media market. However, the remake's reputation remains poor, leaving us to wonder, was it truly a success or a lucky break? Lessons learned. The original The Fog allowed Carpenter to explore new themes beyond mass killers. In contrast, the remake was a cash grab, attempting to capitalize on a trend. While some remakes are masterpieces, most need a creative purpose beyond financial gain. This remake barely stood on its own, relying more on industry trends than artistic vision. The landscape has changed since then. Home media is no longer the safety net it once was, and streaming royalties are smaller. Today, a film like this might not have the same luck. So, was this remake a success or a fluke? The debate is open, and we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments.